All right, greetings and welcome to this video. We've got a wonderful 5-star recipe for you today. A sweet potato casserole, perfect for a holiday season or just kind of a random night in which you want something healthy and delicious. Well, relatively healthy. It's got some natural sweet flavor to it, and obviously we're going to put some other types of yummy stuff in here. So let's get started. We're going to preheat the oven to 375, and I will put the full recipe in the description below so you can actually read that as opposed to listen and just take notes, right? But the concept is pretty simple. We're going to take some sweet potatoes. We've got 3 overlarge ones here, and we're going to wrap them in tinfoil as shown here. So we'll put a base layer and then a top layer on. And before you cover it up completely with the top layer of tinfoil, we're going to actually sprinkle some olive oil on there to create a nice kind of steam bath for it. So when that heats up, the olive oil will dissipate. And we always cook with olive oil, so generally a good idea, I think. And we'll go ahead and put that in the oven. Now the idea here is to just heat them up to, like I said, about 375, and we're going to set the timer for a good 2 hours or so. And we'll just let that warm up. And you want them to cook all the way through, right? So if you've cooked a potato, you know what that feels like when you stick it with a fork. It should be completely soft and kind of mushy on the inside. You shouldn't have any resistance at all. So we'll check them here. We'll get them pulled out. Just like that, and we'll kind of stick it. Yeah, they're not. You want to find the meatiest part of the potato. If it's done in the thickest part, then it's probably going to be done in the thinner parts, right? So we'll put it back in, and we'll check it again. And it ended up needing a little over 2 hours, 2.5 hours or so for them to be completely done in our case. Now that cook time will depend probably on altitude and other factors. Here's a good look at it. You can see that knife just sinks right in. Very soft, just like butter. So we are done. We're going to remove the sweet potatoes from the oven, and we'll let them cool. That is important to the next step because you're going to be handling these with your hands, and hot potato, right? You don't want to burn yourself. So let those cool adequately until you can handle them. Next, we're going to take some syrup. Now we like not the Aunt Jemima stuff, right? We like the natural or the authentic maple syrup. It's going to cost a little more at the store, but it's going to be a lot better. And we'll put some butter in there too. Again, exact measurements for the recipe in the description below. And we'll melt that, stir it up, and we're going to start to peel the sweet potatoes like this. Now, you might prefer to actually peel the sweet potatoes prior to cooking if you have a peeler. That might be better. It depends if you want to cook them with the skins on. And there are pros and cons to each. We typically like to keep the skins on during the cooking process. And the theory there is that it retains its flavor maybe a little better. But the trade-off is it might be a little more difficult to peel depending on the potato. Some of them are easier, some of them are more difficult to peel. So you can use a knife, you can use a peeler, but the peeler will actually scrape too much of the mushy potato off. So we're just going to use a knife and then peel them by hand, just like this. So it's not too bad of a job at all. So we should have it the skins removed at this point, and we'll sprinkle some salt on there and then kind of dice them up a little bit more. They were kind of halved as we peeled them, so you just want to get them kind of as mushy as possible. So we're using a knife, and then we'll use a potato masher to mash the rest. And again, this is why it's important to cook the potato all the way through, otherwise you're going to get some chunky resistance, right? You want it to be just completely mush. Next, we'll spray the pan with some anti-stick spray, and then we'll start transferring the sweet potatoes to the casserole pan or the pot. And we'll use a wooden spoon to expedite the process. And it's naturally sweet. Obviously, you've probably had sweet potatoes before. So at this point, if you take a little spoonful, and you'll find it quite delicious, I think. Okay, so you can kind of make it a level surface at this point with your spoon. And the second part of this, while that's sitting, we're going to take a pan, a little saucepan here, and we're going to start melting down some sugar. And we're going to put the pecans in here. And this is my favorite part of the recipe because it's going to give it a really powerful, delicious, sweet flavor. And it's really fun to prepare this. You get to watch the sugar actually melt and liquefy. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to put cranberries in there as well. And we'll put it on kind of a medium to high heat. Now this part is challenging too. You cannot walk away during this part. It's going to take a while for it to heat up, but once it does, it's going to go fast. So stand next to the pan and monitor it. If you don't, you're going to risk burning the sugar, and you're going to have to start all over. You don't want it to be burned. You want it to be melted. So constantly stir the dish with your spoon. And as that's heating up, you can just turn around real quick and get the marshmallows prepared. But again, constant attention to this. You're going to see it start turning brown. The sugar granules are going to start turning brown. And then look, it's starting to liquefy. Can you see that? It'll clump together and slowly turn to a liquid. And that's what you want. So keep it stirring, constant movement. You can let it sit for a couple seconds and then stir. So when you're done, you should have this kind of sticky liquid. Okay, so when that's done, we're going to quarter our marshmallows. You can use the mini marshmallows or the full marshmallows, full size, and just chop those up a little bit. Doesn't really matter. The full size will give it kind of a more plump final look. But anyway, I'll mention that in just a minute again. But we'll transfer the topping here, the pecan, sugar, cranberry topping, to the tinfoil and just kind of let that cool a little bit. Here's what it looks like. Notice the sugar is completely melted and it is a hot, sticky mess. Delicious. So we're going to transfer that once it's cooled to the touch. Don't burn yourself. To the top of the sweet potato that we made prior to. Again, you can see the marshmallows there. You can certainly use the mini marshmallows. You don't have to cut them. You can just put them on. You can make them multicolored. Buy the multicolored ones for the kiddos if they're helping. Or again, the full-size one. And it's okay if they don't cut perfectly, if they look a little ugly, because as they melt, they're going to just kind of blend together and, again, make this kind of beautiful, very plump, rotund, uniform look. So we'll just put them on like this. We just kind of want generally good coverage. They're going to expand as they go back into the oven. And of course, they'll stick to your fingers. That's part of the process. All right, so this is kind of what it looks like. And we'll go ahead and prepare the oven again and put it back in. So about 350 or so. And we're not going to cook it for nearly as long, about 30 minutes to warm everything up. And look what it's going to start doing. Look at that. The marshmallow will actually toast on the top to a beautiful light brown. And at that point, you can take it out of the oven and call it good. How beautiful is that? So great for Thanksgiving, great for, any type of holiday get-together. Let it cool. And let's actually take a spoon here and we'll get into it so you can see, again, the texture. Got a nice crisp on the top. And a next level 5-star recipe, I assure you. So good, so good. All right, we'll stop the video there. Hopefully this has helped you out. Click that like button if it has, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.